Fourth, Fly the Sky, McGregor Lake at the rail. Big George trails. No change, half mile left to run, and it's Red Cross Knight dictating the terms. Has it by a half length. Don't fight the Fed trying to apply mild pressure, but it's still Red Cross Knight doing it easily, opening it up to a length now on Don't Fight the Fed. It's a length and a half. At the rails, Speed Grazy, Burt's Prospect, fourth, Fly the Sky, McGregor Lake have been right together, and two more, Big George a little bit closer. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and Don't Fight the Fed has overhauled Red Cross Knight. Don't Fight the Fed up to take the lead while going wide off the turn. Speed Grazy, McGregor Lake along the inside. There's an eighth of a mile to go, and Don't Fight the Fed at the rail. Red Cross Knight not done, coming right back. Red Cross Knight and Don't Fight the Fed head and head for the wire. Red Cross Knight turns away Don't Fight the Fed, who appeared to make what looked like a winning move. It was all Red Cross Knight. In behind them, it's a photo for third. Fly the Sky was on the inside of McGregor Lake. In the gate. And they're off. Departure is sent out for the early lead. Tiztalk up close. Bright Leaf, Lambo at the rail. Brazen Leaf fifth and four wide into the first turn. Big Buzz guided over toward the rail. Lambo has come through to take command. With 7 furlongs to run, Lambo opens up 2 lengths. Departure tracks from second. 2 more lengths to Bright Leaf inside Tiztalk. Outside of them comes Brazenly, and it's a long, long way back to Big Buzz. They swing on to the backstretch with Lambo the target, leading the way over Departure, who's now just a half length back in second. Brazenly takes third outside Bright Leaf. Tiztalk splits that pair. 10 or more back to Big Buzz. They head toward the half-mile pole, and it's Lambo in front of half a length. Departure glued to him second. Another 2 lengths back to Brazenly, who's asked to get after the top pair now. Bright Leaf is inside of him. Tiztalk shoved along, and Big Buzz getting closer, just 8 or 9 off them now. 3 furlongs to run. It's Departure on the outside and Lambo with Brazenly in pursuit. 2 off them in third. At the rail, Bright Leaf very much in the thick of it fourth. Another 6 back to Tiztalk and Big Buzz. Departure takes the lead. It's Departure in front with a quarter of a mile to go. Brazenly on the outside. Bright Leaf awaiting room between rivals. Doesn't have it yet. As they straighten up, Brazenly is coming with a determined bid on the outside. And here's Brazenly as Bright Leaf gets room. These two come for the wire. Bright Leaf bursts to the front with an eighth to go and opens up. It's Bright Leaf over Brazenly. Bright Leaf by 2. And Bright Leaf scores. Brazenly a solid second, came up just about a length short. Long way back to Lambo in third in front of Departure. $0.50 lead, pick 5. To the gate. And they're off in the Desert Code. All That Glory and Windstock bounce out 1-2. King of Gosford comes away in good order and cruises up to them along the inside. Sorrento's Sky is fourth in the early going. Guy Named Joe is next. And Rostaman Vibe is 6 lengths off the pace being set by All That Glory, who opens up a length and a half. King of Gosford a clear-cut second. Then Guy Named Joe moving up on the inside. Windstock fourth. Sorrento Sky has lost a couple of spots, and 2 more to Rostaman Vibe. The target is All That Glory, and Umberto Rispoli leading 3/4 of a length. King of Gosford now moves in from his outside. Those two heads apart, 2 lengths clear of Guy Named Joe in striking range third. Sorrento Sky trying to rally again on the inside of Windstock, and Rostaman Vibe is at the back. They're a quarter of a mile from home. All That Glory, King of Gosford, nose to nose. King of Gosford on the outside, and All That Glory come past the eighth pole together. 3 back to guy named Joe in third. It's a tough All That Glory. All That Glory, King of Gosford. Neither one giving an inch as they come for the wire. King of Gosford on the outside, and All That Glory. King of Gosford wears him down. King of Gosford wins again. This time it's the Desert Code. All That Glory, game in defeat. Guy named Joe was a solid third. Behind them, Sorrento Sky and Rastaman Vibe. Vela in the pink. And the favorite, Bella Ranella. And they're off. A little bit of a bobble for Awesome Taylor. Bella Ranella very quick. Woodbine Way coming through along the inside. And Woodbine Way up to get a very narrow lead. Bella Ranella neck back second. Vela in between them third, followed by Tap It Do, a comfortable fourth, just 2 lengths off the lead. Roman Empress is next. Awesome Taylor at the back of the field. They have 3.5 furlongs to go. And it is Woodbine Way, opening it up to lead by 2, but Bella Ranella now called on and cuts right back into that margin second. At the rail, Tap It Do, Vela next to her, a 3-wide Roman Empress, 3 off the pace, and Awesome Taylor trying to get into it from last. They're approaching the quarter pole, and Bella Ranella on the outside of Woodbine Way. Woodbine Way hanging tough, though, and Woodbine Way is in charge as the field turns for home. Awesome Taylor hugs the rail. On the outside comes Tap It Do. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go, and it's Woodbine Way. Bella Ranella comes to her. Bella Ranella now just in front. Tap It Do finishing with interest on the outside. Bella Ranella, Tap It Do, Woodbine Way. Bella Ranella trying to fend them all off, and here's Roman Empress flying. Photo finish. Roman Empress came from absolutely nowhere and is in a tight photo with Bella Ranella. An absolute thriller in the 6th. Awesome Taylor at the back of the field. They have 3.5 furlongs to go. And it is Woodbine Way, opening it up to lead by 2, but Bella Ranella now calls. And Kerry Gold. They're in the gate. And they're off. Kerry Gold broke outward, but did break alertly enough. Calm Sea comes through on the inside. One of these days in Big Hat Willie, those 3 now across the course, with Kerry Gold racing in 4th. They're followed by Zalamo, who is on the outside of the gray Moody Jim. It's a very compact field that crawls through the stretch for the first time. And it's Big Hat Willie on the outside and Calm Sea, with one of these days in between them, heads apart, those 3. Kerry Gold is in the 4th spot on the outside of Moody Jim, and Zalamo 6 lengths off the lead with a lap to travel. Calm Sea and Umberto Rispoli, one of these days, and Antonio Fresu. Those 2 go on with Big Hat Willie now looking to dive over toward the rail and save some ground, and just did so. Another 3 lengths back to Kerry Gold in 4th. Moody Jim is down at the rail, and Zalamo still 6 lengths off the lead. They swing on to the backstretch, and Calm Sea, doing it easily thus far, has it 3/4 of a length. One of these days in 2nd, Big Hat Willie, and Kerry Gold is in 4th. Moody Jim gallops along in 5th with 4 lengths to make up. Zalamo inches up next to him. They have a half-mile left to travel, and Calm Sea has been there throughout, leads it by a length. One of these days, trying to apply a little more pressure in 2nd. He's being called on, but Calm Sea sneaking away from him, has it by almost 2 lengths now. Big Hat Willie rides the rail in 3rd, and Kerry Gold is 4th, 4.5 off them, Zalamo and Moody Jim. Approaching the quarter pole, Calm Sea a length. One of these days, still second. Big Hat Willie. Zalamo on the outside. They turn for home, and Calm Sea called on now. Spurts away to lead it by 3.5. Big Hat Willie coming through on the inside. Zalamo, and one of these days in between them, they're trying to complete the exacta behind Calm Sea. Calm Sea runs away and wins convincingly. Zalamo up for second. One of these days third, then Big Hat Willie. Montana, the last one. We're in the gate. And they're off. American Cat bounces out quickly, but several of them lining up to battle for the lead, including 50 Cinco, Erebus, Never Seen Before, Soul of Midnight, and Stoppin' a Tray is also in the firing line. Into the first turn, and Soul of Midnight takes a narrow lead from 50 Cinco. Stoppin' a Tray in between those two. American Cat now fourth. Never Seen Before settles in a good spot fifth, 5 lengths off the lead. They're followed by Erebus, a length and a half clear of John Dunbar, who's made it over to the fence, having to wait for a little bit of room on the inside of Never Seen Before. A gap of 3 back to Clooney, the big wham, second to last, and Montana's the trailer down the backstretch. And it's Stoppin' a Tray and Soul of Midnight coming to the half-mile pole. With 50 Cinco in the mix, too. Stoppin' a Tray has dropped back to fourth. So it's 50 Cinco, Soul of Midnight. Those two stride for stride. American Cat a half length back third. John Dunbar, steady progress fourth. Stoppin' a Tray losing ground fifth. Then Never Seen Before on the inside of Erebus. Clooney is now starting to pick up some momentum on the inside. He has 5 lengths to make up as they come toward the quarter pole. Montana second to last. The big wham is the trailer. American Cat with a 3-wide bid for the lead with a quarter of a mile to go. He goes very wide into the stretch. At the rails, Soul of Midnight is battling on. Clooney has swung to the center of the racetrack and coming with a dangerous bid. They're inside the final eighth of a mile. Montana's trying to get involved. Lady starting to close the gap. In the meantime, Clooney has found the front with a 16th to go from Soul of Midnight. Down at the rail, John Dunbar and Montana. It will be Clooney. Clooney, much the best. Another big day for Steve Knapp. John Dunbar came through in a photo with Soul of Midnight. To the load. We're in the gate. And they're off. Even start. Baldoro now emerges with the lead. On the inside, When Heroes Fly matches strides with him, followed by Chasing Rain, and Shot of Courage is close up on the extreme outside. Just behind them, Dealer Special settles in mid-pack in front of Legitimate Target. 2 clear of Daddy Justify. Empire Classic is next. The 2 trailers are Tracker, and Big Juanito, who was off slowly, is at the back of the field. They move into the turn, and it's When Heroes Fly, and Diego Herrera setting the terms by about a length. With Baldoro in second. Down at the rail, Legitimate Target is close up and eager in third. And Shot of Courage on the outside. Dealer Special between those two in fifth, but only 3 lengths off the lead, having to steady ever so slightly. Chasing Rain inches up on the outside of him. Then Daddy Justify, followed by Empire's Classic. The 2 trailers are Big Juanito, and down at the rail, it's Tracker. They have a half mile to go. When Heroes Fly continues to show the way. Prompted by Baldoro, just a neck back. Shot of Courage third. Legitimate Target, Dealer Special has been in traffic, but very close to the pace. Only 2 off the leaders into the far turn. Chasing Rain in the blue is 3 deep, followed by Empire's Classic. Empire's Classic starting to pick up some momentum, has 5 to make up. Big Juanito is next with a quarter of a mile to go. Daddy Justified, Tracker has trailed throughout. When Heroes Fly, Baldoro head and head as the field turns for home. Legitimate Legitimate Target angles out for the drive. Dealer Special in the lime green is in fourth, and Big Juanito has surfaced late inside the eighth pole. Baldoro, Legitimate Target. Big Juanito is coming flying on the outside. It's Baldoro just in front. Big Juanito surging. Big Juanito in a very close photo. It's too close to call between Big Juanito and Baldoro in a close photo in the finale.
Rightfully so, Memorial Day can be a somber holiday, but it also can be a celebration, right? Because around most of the country, Memorial Day indicates that summer has begun. And of course, here at St. Anita, we're willing to celebrate a Memorial Day weekend with you as well. We race all 4 days, including Memorial Day Monday. 9 races today, 10 races tomorrow and Sunday, and then 11 races on Monday, highlighted by both the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile and the Grade 2 Hollywood Gold Cup. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Quigley, VIP Player Concierge. So happy that you decided to join us for the next 38 minutes as we talk to somebody who is still celebrating. He won the Preakness 6 days ago. He's the racing manager for MyRacehorse.com. His name, Joe Moran. Joe, happy Friday. Welcome to the seminar.
Thanks for having me on. First time on here. I'm excited.
You should be excited. You should also be very happy. Has the celebration ended since last Saturday?
It's starting to finally set in and be able to kind of collect my thoughts, but it was just an unbelievable weekend, and to have the amount of people we had out at Pimlico, it was just a really special moment for the company.
We're talking about Seize the Gray, owned by MyRacehorse.com, trained by the legendary D. Wayne Lucas. I'm sure you saw it, but let's just walk down memory lane, pick them up as they hit the far turn, and listen to Larry Colmus describe the action.
Still Seize the Gray, who leads the way for D. Wayne Lucas and has been there every step of the way so far. Mystic Dan has made a move, and now he's just to the outside. He's taken second. Then comes Imagination in third as they come to the top of the stretch. Seize the Gray, turning for home in front. Mystic Dan confronts him, catching Freedom, now right behind and swinging to the outside. Seize the Gray is still there. Mystic Dan bearing down on the outside. Seize the Gray won't go away. Mystic Dan catching Freedom, moving down the center of the track. But Wayne Lucas has done it. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness.
Joe, how many times have you watched that replay since they crossed the finish line?
Honestly, not that many, but it kind of gave me the chills right there again watching it. And just an unbelievable story for Dwayne Lucas, Jaime Torres sticking with him. He's just such a good kid and such a great rider. It's just pretty remarkable. I mean, when we really look back at the race, I never thought he'd be on the lead. I thought he was going to be close, but I thought we would be maybe sitting second off of the outside of Baffert of Imagination.
Right.
But when he got it as easy as he did, he's kind of one of those horses that he doesn't really necessarily – he can't switch from second gear to fourth gear, but he'll kind of keep ticking away for you, and it kind of set up perfect for him.
He had the highest Tomlinson speed figure in the race of 4:39. Were you guys happy that the track came up a little bit muddy?
We certainly weren't mad. He had broke his maiden at Saratoga over a sloppy track, and then also ran well in the Skidmore when it got taken off the turf at Saratoga. So we were happy, but at the same time, Mystic Dan had run really well over a sloppy track before. So we kind of said, well, maybe it evens the playing field. But in the end, it worked out great for us.
Speaking of Saratoga, Joe, you bought Seize the Great for $300,000 at the Fasig-Tipton August Saratoga sale back in 2022. You were actually one of the two scouts who kind of picked out this horse at sale, weren't you?
Yes, it was a lot of fun. And
what was it about him that caught your eye as a baby?
He was just very well balanced and athletic. We were kind of looking for a horse, and at the same time, when you're at the Saratoga sale, value is
it's a little pricey.
It's very hard to find. So to find him for $300,000, he was just kind of one of those horses that wasn't really mature and fully developed, and I think that played in our favor there.
Let's take a look at the winner's circle photo. It's kind of great to see everybody smiling. Now, of course, MyRacehort.com, I believe, has over 2,000 partners in the shares of Seize the Great. But there you are on the left-hand side, big smile on your face next to the person in the cowboy hat. You're wearing the blue blazer there. That's a moment you'll never forget.
Yeah, a moment I'll never forget for sure.
Amazing. Let's talk about being a son of Arrogate. What comes first, Joe, when you go to the sale? Is it the athlete himself when you look at the horse, or is it the pedigree, or is it a combination of both?
I think everyone has their own process and method. For me, it's physical. I love the physical first and trying to find that athlete. It was just the way I was raised. My father has been in this game forever, and we used to go to the Calbred sales and try to find cheap horses as yearlings. So I kind of come from that background of trying to find value. But of course, you need the pedigree, and you got to have something to support the animal. And this was the perfect match. Now,
it's interesting that you guys would win the Preakness because, as you well know, there's a $5 million bonus associated with any horse that can win the combination of both the Preakness Stakes, the California Crown, which will be run here on opening weekend at San Diego in September, and the Pegasus World Cup. And you guys are on record. You're going after the bonus, rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be on our radar. The one thing, this horse, he is going to run in the Belmont, be his 5th race in 11 weeks. So we'll have to be tactical of managing his plan forward to make those races, but how can you not get excited over a bonus like that?
And Dwayne Lucas was quick to say that you guys were moving on to the Belmont. To me, that indicates that he came out of the race pretty good. What did you think the morning after?
Yeah, it came out great. I mean, even we went back to the stakes barn after the race with some owners, and just seeing how he handled that situation after just running in the Preakness. He's a special horse. 2 weeks out of the Pat Day Mile to come back in the Preakness. His weight, he carried his weight great, and he's just one of those rare throwback type horses.
Let's talk about MyRacehorse.com because, of course, it's got a lot of intrigue around the industry. You can buy shares into horses for a relatively small amount. The social media things just absolutely blew up with your partners who own that. Yeah. I found that very refreshing and very encouraging. Yeah. Talk to us about the objectives that MyRacehorse.com has for horse racing.
Yeah, I think it's to, one, grow the sport, get people back in the sport, or get their foot in the door for the first time. And I think we've been able to accomplish that over the last 6 years.
You sure have.
And we've had a lot of people. We've developed Edge Racing, which is our traditional syndicate, 5%, 10% shares. I started that in 2020 for them. And we've seen people take the next step to there. And then we've had plenty of people that have went out on their own and bought horses. And to me, that's what it's all about, is just keep getting people into the game and growing the sport.
It might be hard for people watching to see what it says on your hat, but you're probably wearing the Kentucky Derby, which, of course, you guys won with Authentic.
Yeah. That was my first Derby ever, and unfortunately,
first you ever attended?
First I ever attended.
What an indoctrination!
Yep, and it was unfortunately COVID year, so it was a weird surrounding an environment of just no one there, but still an unbelievable moment. And that was really the first moment that I'd say put us on the map. And a big thanks to B. Wayne Hughes, really supporting my racehorse, and just his objective has always been to grow the sport and keep the sport going. And that was a big test of his plan and what he wanted to accomplish.
I've been lucky enough to have been to Spendthrift and other farms in Lexington, Kentucky. But for those viewers who might not have ever been there, describe for them what that's like. Because for me, it's kind of like the horse racing capital of the world, because that's where it all begins and that's where it kind of all ends.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everywhere you go, it's a lot different than California. Being born and raised in California, it's a lot different, but it's amazing. Everywhere you go, you got all the farms, the green grass, the Kentucky bluegrass, and the facilities there are just impeccable.
We're just getting warmed up. We're going to find out who Joe likes on today's 9-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes here on Friday of Memorial Day weekend here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf firm, the rail on the turf is out 30 feet. Here are the early changes. In the first race, start of the early pick 5, number 6, Crazy Cavalier, should be listed as a gelding. In race 2, scratch number 4, Violet Storm. There are no changes in the third race. Fourth race starts the $1 pick 6. No scratches or jockey changes. The fifth race starts the late pick 5 and the all-turf pick 3. $3 all-turf pick 3 today is on races 5, 7, and 9 with no changes. In the sixth race, no changes. Seventh race, scratch number 8, Leopardess. In the eighth race, we have a blinker note. In the ninth, number 7, Legitify, 1 pound over, and scratch number 9, Adebayo. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. 58 minutes to post for race 1. It's free admission Friday, which means $3 beers, $5 margaritas. Have a great afternoon. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Joe Moran. He's the racing manager for MyRacehorse.com. 6 days ago, they won the 2024 Preakness Stakes with Seize the Gray. Before we find out who Joe likes on today's card, an interesting promotion that Santa Anita ExpressBet and FirstBet are doing for horse players this weekend. It's called the $5,000 Hit It and Split It. If you play the late pick 4 any of the next 4 days on the ExpressBet or the FirstBet.com website, and you hit the late pick 4, you'll be eligible for bonus money in excess of $5,000 to share with other lucky and skilled ticket holders that hit the late pick 4 as well. So make sure you either log into your ExpressBet or FirstBet.com wagering account and play the late pick 4 here at Santa Anita, because you'll be eligible for a bonus if in fact you hit it. All right, Joe, we're here to talk about gambling, and you've got the racing form in front of you. You've been around the racetrack for a long time. What type of handicapper are you? Are you a speed guy, pedigree guy, trainer jockey combinations? Like, what do you do when you first look at the racing form?
Pace dynamic. I love to find a horse that the race is setting up for. And then also just trying, simple things. I love Ragas and Sheets, Thoroughgraph. I big player of those. And then also trends, just trying to find trends of horses that are improving and on the up and up, and trying to find the right horse at the right moment.
How do you kind of mix and match the couple of things that you mentioned? In other words, like how important is pace? Is it 50% or more? How important are the rags and sheets? What happens if they conflict? Like, how do you kind of, weave your way through that?
It's a good question. I'll say the first thing I look at is rags and sheets, and I try to find something that stands out. I like to play.
That's not obvious.
That's not obvious. Yep. So I'm a pick 5 player, so I'm always trying to find a single and hunt down a single. And then from there, we'll try to find pace favoring horses. I love a lone speed horse, so if I can pick out a lone speed horse, that's going to be my key at certain tracks. But Santa Anita in particular, my home track of what I've watched for the last 25 years, that's what I'm always looking for.
Seize the Gray was a lone speed horse. Do you know what his rags and sheet number came back by chance?
I do, but I don't know it. Maybe I'll circle back within 2 minutes. I got it right there.
I'm sure it was a really good number.
It was a single. He ran his first single digit.
And the Pat Day Mile, he obviously improved leaps and bounds leading into the Preakness. You were at Churchill for that performance.
I was not. I was actually here.
Oh, good boy.
We had a runner here, so I was here.
Okay, but obviously you guys felt very good off that Pat Day Mile win to move him into the Preakness.
Absolutely, and just a speedy showed in that race to be close to the pace around the 1-turn mile was something special.
Well, let's kick things off here, Joe, in race number 1, which begins the 50-cent early pick 5. Race 1 is a split of race number 9, meaning it has the same conditions, and those conditions we're 6.5 furlongs on the turf course. The rails today are at 30 feet, and this race is for maiden claimers. $50,000 is the claiming tag. We've got a field of 8. The morning line favorite originally at 5-2 was Quintessence, who is number 4, but currently the betting choice is on the bottom. Number 8, Tomorrow Never Comes, trained by Doug O'Neill, a first-time starter. Happy birthday, Doug O'Neill. Today is Doug O'Neill's birthday. He's got many runners on today's card. We'll see if he can celebrate his birthday with a winner or two. Before we get your thoughts on the race, Joe, I wanted to watch a replay that 2 of these runners exit. It was a race back on April 26th. It was the 5th race, and both number 2, Gaelic Nation, and number 4, Quintessence, you're going to see appear and run in this particular replay. Also a runner in race number 9 by the name of Uncle Reg also runs in this previous race as well. So let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action. Quintessence will be pressing the pace. Gaelic Nation will be caught kind of wide and kind of flat, turning for home, but nevertheless, he takes blinkers off today. But you judge for yourself. See if you think either Quintessence or Gaelic Nation might win today's first race based off this last race replay.
And they're off. Fast start for Pinehurst. Uncle Reg is up close in the early stages. Adebayo moving up. Quintessence in between those two. They're followed by Bowtie Boys, who's a close-up 4th now, just in front of Uncle Reg, who settles 5th. At the back of the field are Good at Being Bad, who was just passed by Rostovsky, and Gaelic Nation trails. It's Adebayo passing the half-mile pole, ahead in front, pressed by Quintessence. Behind them, Bowtie Boys at the rail. Uncle Reg in between, and Pinehurst 3 deep, a length and a half off the leaders. It's another 3 lengths back, Gaelic Nation on the outside of Rostovsky. This whole group covered by less than 4, and it's a distance to Good at Being Bad. 1/4 mile to go. Quintessence is head in front of Adebayo. Pinehurst outside of them. Uncle Reg is next. Gaelic Nation continues to make some progress. And down at the rail, Bowtie Boys, there's an 1/8 mile to go. And it's Quintessence and Pinehurst head in head. Uncle Reg clear sailing coming after them now as Pinehurst takes the lead. On the outside, Uncle Reg and Quintessence. Pinehurst wins it. Second goes to Uncle Reg. Rostovsky.
Joe, that race was at 6 furlongs. Today we're going 6.5 on the flat turf course. Gaelic Nation, you see in the replay, was caught wide. 3rd off the layoff for trainer Richie Baltus. Blinkers come off today. As we can see by the graphic, he's your top choice in the race. Tell us why.
Yeah, so he's my top choice. He really didn't get out of the gate well in that race on April 26th. I think he's going to be a little bit closer despite taking the blinkers off. And ultimately, it comes down to a race of really trying to find who else to beat. I think Quintessence is the deserving favorite. At the same time, 0 for 17. I just couldn't get behind him and support him. And none of the first-time starters really stood out for me. Baltus is kind of heating up here at the meet. And when we look at the rags and sheets, that Gaelic Nation is improving in each of his last 3 starts. So I think he's trending in the right direction. I think the extra half furlong is going to be key. And I think the key for him also is hopefully just being a little closer to the pace.
Question for you, Joe, and it's off the cuff and it's live TV, so I don't mean to catch you by surprise once again. But with Crazy Cavalier, Without Borders, and Tomorrow Never Comes, the 3 outside runners who are all first-time starters. Do you recall or do you keep notes of any that you might have seen at sale? Is that something you do when you kind of handicap a day's card?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the great thing of iPads these days at the sales, and we have these great apps, and allows us to go back and see all of our notes, and then also we keep our work notes separate that if anything catches our eye or at the same time something runs and you want to maybe make an offer and buy something, it's always great to reference those notes.
Interesting. Did any of these 3, did you ever see them at the sale or watch any workout video leading up to them being purchased?
No, unfortunately I was not at the OBS June sale where Crazy Cavalier was purchased, so I did not have anything there. Air Force Blue was purchased as a weanling, so I did not see him either.
Fair enough. 2 and 4 in race number 1. Joe, let's turn the page. Take a look at race number 2. It's 50-cent early pick 4 time, and we're on the main track, 1 mile the distance. Fillies and Mares, $12,500 of the claiming tag. We've got a field of 5 after the scratch. Number 4, Violet Storm. Number 3, Voulin, first off the claim for trainer Vladimir Sarin, has won his last 3 two-turn dirt races. He's the 9-5 morning line favorite. Talk to us about race 2.
Yeah, I think Voulin is the horse to beat. You draw a line through those 2 one-turn races. This is what she wants to do. This is what she's good at, and she comes back at the right level. Still trying to create some value. I'm going to look to the outside of Sweet Hello. I know when you look at those last 2 races, it doesn't jump off or catch your eye by any means, but you go 4 back when she ran at this level. She was a 4.5 length winner. I think, again, she was just running over her head, even those Calbred allowance races. I think she's back at a level that she wants to run at. She's got a good outside draw, and I think she may be the controlling speed in here.
You talked about Sweet Hello and having to draw lines through some of her previous performances. And you also mentioned earlier in the opening, Joe, about your dad, Michael Moran, who's a prominent owner here in Southern California. I believe he's involved in the claiming game to a certain extent.
Yep.
You have to be able to draw lines through horses' past performances, no matter what it might be, and kind of circle back to when they ran at the same level, which in this case for Sweet Hello was 4 races back.
Yeah, absolutely. We always say the term "find their friends," and I think she's going to find her friends today.
The best example I can give to you of that is when Point Given ran so disappointingly in the Kentucky Derby, and then he wound up being the 3-year-old champion of that crop because he obviously swept the card after that. Yeah. Whatever happened on Kentucky Derby Day, he didn't like the surface. Who knows what might have happened. At the end of the year, he was the champion. These are not necessarily champions, but it's indicative of how you have to excuse bad running lines.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at race number 3. In race number 3, we are traveling 5 furlongs, the abbreviated sprint distance of 5 furlongs in the turf course for 3-year-old Calbreds. It's an allowance optional claiming type of race. We've got a field of 7. Number 4, Special Club, fresh off the maiden win for trainer Craig Lewis, is the 9-5 morning line favorite. Give us your thoughts on race 3, Joe.
Yeah, Special Club fooled me last time. I really didn't think he would be able to handle the cut back to 5 furlongs. I think that has to be respected. Now he's going to get a class test facing winners for the first time. And I go to the outside of Beer Money. He did not get away from the gate well last time. He slightly stumbled at the start. Came out of a live race of Final Storm and No Idea. It was a nice Calbred of John Sadler. He has had a long campaign, but I think this is what he wants to do. He's a turf sprinter. I think he's going to be a little bit quick out of there. I don't think he's going to be 3.5, 4 lengths off the pace. Gets a good draw. Edwin Maldonado knows him well, and he's the horse I landed on here. I think he's going to have to hold off Special Club. Outside of that, Smoke 'em Easy was the interesting horse to me. Just coming off the layoff, hasn't been seen since 2. At the same time, I just couldn't quite support him. I needed to see 1.
You mentioned Beer Money coming out of a strong Calbred race, and I'll ask you another question, Joe, that I don't know the answer to. Tomorrow's California Gold Rush Day. We've got a good 10-race card, very competitive fields. Does either My Racehorse or Edge Racing have any runners on the California Gold Rush card?
We do not. We have 1 Sunday and then 1 on the Memorial card day.
Let's talk about the Sunday entrant. Who is it? Who owns it? And what's the expectation?
Yeah. We got Laneway in the Daytona.
I've heard of him.
Yep, on Sunday, and
that goes as the last race, as a matter of fact. Race number
correct.
10 on the Sunday card.
The finale. He's been a veteran, a war horse for us. He shows up and runs every time. He's getting a little bit older, and perhaps maybe he's lost a step. But I think the last race was a short field. He didn't really get much to run into. Now we get a full field, and it's going to be a tough race. So we're going to see what he's made of.
It sure is. And then on Monday, you mentioned you have a runner. Who might that be?
Yes, we have a first-time starter that's actually owned in partnership Edge Racing and My Racehorse. It's the first time we've teamed up together. Son of Violence that we bought at OBS for $400,000.
Were you behind the purchase? Did you go?
We were behind a team effort. Roderick Watchman, Nick Hines, and myself. And he's a horse that we're excited about. It's going to be a tough race, which I think we got Flightline's brother also going to be in the same race. So it's going to be I think, a highly regarded 3-year-old maiden special weight, but we have high expectations.
Has he been in training in Santa Anita? Can we watch some of the workout videos on xbtv.com, or you've been hiding him at Santa Anita?
No, there are. His work 2 back going 6 furlongs, and then I believe there's a gate drill on XBTV as well.
Beautiful. Look forward to both of those performances, and best of luck with those runners. Race number 4 begins the $1 pick 6. We're back on the main track, 1 mile of the distance. For maiden claiming Calbred, fillies and mares in for a $50,000 tag. A field of 6. Number 6, Donita Rose, going first time 2 turns. From the Peter Miller barn is the 6-5 morning line favorite. Once again, Joe, before we get your thoughts on the race, replay time. We want to watch the replay of, again, on April 26th, this time the 4th race. Blazing Bardot, High Flying Gracie, and Donita Rose all exit this particular replay we're about to watch. This replay, or this race, I should say, was run at 6 furlongs. Today's distance is 2 turns, so you want to evaluate maybe who might appreciate the stretch out to 2 turns. I'll kind of spoil a little bit of the surprise for you. Donita Rose, as the 4-5 favorite in this particular replay we're about to watch, got a perfect stocking trip and couldn't get the job done. And then likewise, Blazing Bardot, you know, kind of a lightly raced horse, 5-year-old with 8 lifetime starts, but just the 3rd start in 2024, ran okay. But the one that caught my eye, who might appreciate 2 turns, is the long shot, number 5, High Flying Gracie. She's going to be wearing saddlecloth number 11. She's got yellow blinkers on. Take a look at her late run in this common race that both Blazing Bardot, High Flying Gracie, and Donita Rose exit back on March 26th. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action.
And they're off. Castagna, Dixie Blaze both have early speed. Here's Ace Baby with the blue blinkers, and Donita Rose is close up 3rd now, just a length and a half off the lead. Dixie Blaze now races in 4th as the duels between Ace Baby and Castagna up top. Down at the rail, Nancy Griffith is racing in 5th. They're followed between rivals by Blazing Bardot, and a 4 wide Miss Moab is next. Another couple back to High Flying Gracie, Spicy Spouse, and 3 to Spicy Ride. 3 furlongs out, Ace Baby, Castagna dueling on the front end. Donita Rose 3 off them in 3rd. Then it's Blazing Bardot racing on the inside. Miss Moab in the lime green takes 4th. 2 more back to Nancy Griffith there at the top of the stretch. And Donita Rose is making a 3-wide bid. Miss Moab in the center of the track has good momentum too. Down at the rail, Nancy Griffith all coming after Ace Baby, who's under siege. And Miss Moab surges to the front inside the 8th pole. It's Miss Moab and Donita Rose. Miss Moab's in front, pulling away late, and it's going to be Miss Moab to win it by 2. Donita Rose 2nd. Blazing.
Joe, as we watch the gallop out, High Flying Gracie might have finished 5th, beaten by 4 lengths, but on the gallop out here, you can see with the yellow blinkers on the outside, certainly picking them up late. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to like 2 turns, but this seems to be a bit of an inscrutable race. I know, having looked at your picks, that you don't like any of those 3 runners that we watched the replay for.
No, I'm actually going to land on Sky Sound, but watching that replay again, you know, the one thing I'll say about High Flying Gracie, it's not that she just passed tired horses. She continued out past the wire nicely. So you'd have to think that she's going to appreciate the stretch out and distance. And if you look back a while back, October of 2023, she did run a pretty good 2nd, even though it was a short horse field going a flat mile. But I landed on number 2, Sky Sailing. Ultimately, I landed on this horse because I thought it was a bad race, and I think you could go multiple directions. But this horse comes out of some pretty live races. Roberta's Love 2 back has turned into a very nice filly.
Stakes winner,
correct. And most recently, No Time for Squalls of Mark Latt, who returns later on the card. She was dropping for 50 for the first time. I thought that was going to be proven to be another live race. I think she does not want to run on the turf. Clubhouse rides run on about everything, but I think she's more of a dirt horse, and I think stretching out on the dirt is going to be beneficial to Sky Sailing.
Just generally speaking, Joe, how important are post positions for you, whether it's sprinting or going long? Not necessarily as it relates to this race, but do you not want to be down on the rail when you're sprinting? Do you not want to be stuck outside when you're going 2 turns? Like, just as a handicapper, do you have any sort of either phobias or, tendencies?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with field size. The more panic I'm going to say in a big field, being stuck on the outside, going 2 turns, especially if it's going to be a short run into the first turn, and then a sprint. Mainly if I'm going to be playing a first timer and I'm drawn 1 or 2, I'm going to be a little aware of that, of how strongly I'm going to play.
You talked about your $400,000 purchase of Progeny of Violence on Monday, first time started. Did you draw the inside?
We haven't found out yet.
Oh, that's right. They're drawing right now.
I hope not.
They are going to have 11 races starting at 1 o'clock, and the draw is about to happen. So we'll find out, but keep our fingers crossed. That's certainly going to be a very important maneuver for the first-time starter. Race number 5 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 and the $3 all-turf pick 3. We're on the turf course, 1 mile the distance for fillies and mares. $35,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. Field of 6, the only 3-year-old in the field, number 5, Highlands, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Last seen at Turf Paradise. You talked about race 4 being inscrutable, Joe. This isn't an easy race either.
No, it's very competitive and evenly matched on numbers. I did land on the favorite, even though it's 3-year-old facing olders. Ultimately, I think she's now found her friends at the right level. The horse that I will say I'm most intrigued by that I didn't use is the outside Smart Kitten. Ran a 12 1/4 on the rags last time, off a long layoff. You could consider this as a bounce candidate, just improving so much from 3 to 4 at the same time. You know, horses do grow up and improve from 3 to 4 at the same time. So she is going to stretch out in distance. She's proven that as a 3-year-old that she can handle that. I'm just a little wishy-washy. I think she's going to get a lot of the money when it comes post time.
You're on the backside a whole heck of a lot more than I am, and you use the bounce factor, which is when a horse regresses off a really good number in the previous effort. Can you tell physically if a horse might be eligible for bouncing, or do you just actually have to see the performance and then realize that the horse bounced? Or are there indications maybe ahead of time that you can tell, oh, maybe we might bounce?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of indications.
Give us a few if you can.
How horses eat, how they're training, naturally their weight. I think weight's the biggest thing, is you'll see a horse from there. And a lot of times to prevent a bounce, we always say a horse needs time. Now, depending how big of a number that jump is, we kind of say that 6 to 8 week range is what's needed to recover from that. Now, this horse gets at least over 4 weeks. So I don't feel as worried here, and it's not a significant jump, but that's going to be the biggest thing for me, is just attitude around the barn and then their physical appearance and weight.
And thankfully, Sanita and all the first racing consortium of racetracks display the weights for the horses as well. I find that to be a very important angle, as you mentioned, because you can you never know where you're going to pick up a handicapping nugget. And right there, looking at that graphic, when they display the horse's weight, might be able to tell you if the horse lost weight, it might be eligible for a bounce.
No doubt.
Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We're 2 turns again on the main track. 1 mile is the distance, $16,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Take note number 8, Syntactic, who's the 3-1 morning line favorite, is also a first-time gelding. Also, Tyler Bays, is that right? Am I reading this correctly? Anyway, I have a note that I don't know if it is correct or not, so I'm not going to say it. But Tyler Bays does ride the favorite, number 8, Syntactic. Here's an example, Joe, where the outside post might be coming into play with a field of 8 with the short run into the first turn. Give us your thoughts on race 6.
I think Syntactic is potentially the horse to beat. I think he needed to be gelded. He kind of always made himself find trouble and never, I think, fully exerted himself. Ultimately, I ended up on Fireman Dan, who comes out of the same race, finished ahead of him. I'm a little surprised he ended up not being the morning line favorite, but the Mark Glatt barn is red hot of late and been like that for a while. Fireman Dan, I really thought he was going to be the winner and catch American Cat in that replay. But ultimately, he's a horse that I've always been fond of. I will admit he does not like to win. He's 1 for 25, has not won in over 2 years. But the most recent race was the best race I've seen from him in a while. And I think he is trending in the right direction. The
stat I was going to throw out there is actually related to trainer Mark Glatt. Mark Glatt trains the morning line favorite in 3 of the last 4 races, including in race number 6, the aforementioned Syntactic. Let's turn the page, take a look at race number 7, back on the turf course, 1 mile the distance for fillies and mares. That's the starter optional claiming race. Scratch the 8, leaves us with a field of 7. Number 7, Marina's Tina, adding the blinkers for trainer Phil D'Amato, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. 7 different ways you can go here, Joe. Which way are you going and why?
So this is one that this was my price race of the day. I kind of avoided both favorites. I'm going to look at the 6, Pink Whitney, making a very quick turnaround of 7 days. But this is a horse. You look at the last 2 races this horse is running, just been running way over your head and still did not run poorly.
Jane Austen would be 1 to 9 in here. You know all about her, the daughter of Tappan, trained by Mark Glatt.
Absolutely. And then you look back at that turf race going a mile and 8, she was only beaten 3. I thought it was a very honest effort. But when she finally made that drop in class for maiden 50, she was much the best, and then came back and ran a really respectable effort in that starter allowance. That winner of that race, who was Sakura Blossom, came back and also beat her in the Arizona Oaks.
Correct.
So I think that's she's just finding her friends. I am a little concerned about the 7-day turnaround, but Doug has been successful doing that many times before. And then the other horse I mentioned, No Time for Squalls, for Mark Glatt. One, she was begging for more distance. And then also, I think he kind of snuck one through the cracks, dropping her for 50 there. Has a solid pedigree by Not This Time, who has proven just 2 turns is what they want to do. So I think maybe I'm going to play a little exacta there with 2 prices. and try to beat the favorites.
And No Time for Squalls, ridden by Tyler Bays. Tyler Bays also rides number 8, Syntactic, in race number 6. Congratulations to not only Tyler Bays for getting in the Mark Glatt barn, but also delivering. He's had 10 mounts in the Glatt barn with 3 victories, including this one you see for No Time for Squalls. Yeah. It's good to see these jockeys who have been around for quite a while, veteran jockeys like Kyle Frey, like Tyler Bays, achieve some success because, as you well know, they work 7 days a week and they work extremely hard.
Yeah, they risk their lives every day, and they're out here every single morning's working horses to get these mounts, and you just like to see them all get success. And Tyler and the Mark Glatt barn go years back, and they've been friends forever, so it's nice to see them teaming up.
Let's talk about one of the benefits of being an investor in MyRacehorse.com, Joe, and that would be the access to the backside. How do you guys handle that with so many partners? Do you have them call in advance and say, hey, we want to come see our horse? Like, what do you do?
So we have this great app and website. We do events on the website, and everything we do from paddock to race day events, everything's lottery system, so it's fair. We put events up for the backside, and for example, this weekend on Sunday, we kind of have a dual event of come out to the races on Monday, Sunday morning, come enjoy a morning at the barn. So we'll have approximately 40 to 50 people out at the barn on Sunday morning.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but at least during last summer's meet at Del Mar, you guys have that large balcony behind the fountain. It's basically your private suite area, for lack of a better description.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a great thing for us, and we were lucky enough to have it during Breeders' Cup as well, when the Breeders' Cup's there. And it's just a great moment, or great area for people to interact with each other. And I think that's the one thing that we've learned is people not necessarily want to see me there, but they want to see the other owners and be able to interact with all the other
Let's
owners.
face it, it's a social sport, right? There's a half hour in between races. There's a lot of camaraderie, just like right now you and I shooting the breeze about handicapping today's card. It's just a very social type of sport, and people, that's what they want to do. They're busy with their 9-to-5 jobs and their family and raising kids. They want to come out and have a good time.
Absolutely. It allows you to clear the mind and talk about something you love.
Race number 8. We are traveling 6 furlongs on the main track for allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. We've got a field of 7. Here's Mark Glatt again with number 3, Joe Don Looney, 5-2 on the morning line. If memory serves correct, we haven't seen Joe Don Looney in almost a year, actually in 13 months. Last seen on April 8th, 2023. Give us your thoughts on race 8, Joe.
So I am going to go with a Mark Glatt runner, but I'm not going to go with Joe Don Looney.
Right next door.
Right next door. Now, Mark Glatt is always been good off layoffs, but his program now is even better with horses coming off layoffs, and you see that 28% off 180 plus days. This one's a year layoff, so we're looking double that. At the same time, I'm going to look at Tarantino, number 4. When Mark claimed this horse, it was the best race, not necessarily from numbers, but it was one of the better races visually that I think we've seen from this horse. Comes out of a live race with 2 next out winners. And Mark brought this horse back, tried the turf, stretching him back out on the turf. That's what he was best at in his early starts of his career. I just almost wonder if he doesn't want to go 2 turns anymore. He works way too good in the mornings. And I'm going to kind of take a flyer here. I could be dead wrong, but I have a feeling we're going to see a much improved effort from Tarantino today.
You also give a little love to number 1, Principe Carlo from the Lee Baraccio barn. Likes this main track, 4 wins from 17 efforts. Doesn't have to run against the Chosen Ron, which he's done in the past. What do you like about him?
I think it's just class drop. I think it's a deserving class drop. He ran a pretty big effort to Mano Rose, who's proved in to be a stellar dirt, or started his career on the turf and now has been proven to be a freak on the dirt. I'm still slightly concerned of the 12-day turnaround with this horse. He's just an old knocker. He's an 8-year-old. I'm not sure if he's going to handle that 12-day turnaround as well, but I still think there's just a lot of class to Principe Carlo. He loves this track, as you mentioned. He's always one that just shows up and runs.
We close out today's card in race number 9. As previously mentioned, it's a split of race number 1. That means it's 6.5 furlongs on the turf course for maiden claimers. $50,000 is the claiming tag. Scratch the also eligible number 9. Leaves us with a field of 8, and number 8, Quality Wins, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. You've also got your 1 runner on today's card in here, Joe. It's number 7, Legitify. We'll talk about him in a moment. But before we do, I want to show a workout on the training track for number 8, Quality Wins. This was on May 13th. Quality Wins is going to be on the inside. He's the gray. But take a look at his workmate on the outside. We Make Sammy Run, or excuse me, What Makes Sammy Run, is going to run in the aforementioned Daytona on Sunday, coming off an 11-month layoff. Now, keep in mind, Quality Wins on the inside here is running for maiden 50. What Makes Sammy Run is a multiple graded stakes winner already. This is on the training track. But what I like is just the heart the Quality Wins shows here. He's going to get passed rather easily by What Makes Sammy Run. But nevertheless, Quality Wins kind of digs in here. We haven't seen him since June of last year. He's returning off the long layoff. Joe's already told us how well Mark Glatt does off long layoffs. And here's one more statistic, courtesy of Brad Free in the Racing Form. The Mark Glatt barn with maiden claimers returning in excess of 180 days over the last 2 years. That's happened 14 times. He's won with 9 of them, 64%, 9 for 14 with his maiden claimers returning in excess of 180 days. I'm kind of tipping my hand that I like number 8 Quality Wins, Joe. But let's also talk about Legitify, 3rd-time starter, 2nd time on the turf course, dropping down from a maiden special weight race. Two tough heats, let's face it. First 2 times out. But Richard Mandela does well with this move. What's Legitify like coming into this race?
Yeah, he's a horse that's always outperformed in the mornings versus the afternoons. He's a little bit of a particular horse that he needs to be ridden a certain way, where he doesn't want to be fought. You can't really grab a hold of him too much. The one thing that I'm seeing in this race is I don't think there's a ton of pace. So I think the only way that it's going to set up for Legitify is if he can break clean.
He's got pace.
And get out to a lonely lead and kind of control it. And if he can do that, I think he can be dangerous. Otherwise, I do think Quality Wins is live. And I also think Uncle Reg, off of that second place performance, first off the claim for Richard Baltas, I think he's one that you have to keep on your radar.
Joe, it's a pleasure having you here on the seminar. One more time for the people that might be watching that want to get involved with myracehorse.com. What's the easiest way for them to get in touch with your company?
The best way is to go to myracehorse.com. You'll find everything there. Phone numbers to reach out to, emails, and also you can see everything that we have available. We have a buy page, events tab. You can kind of see everything that we offer and what we do. And it's just been a fun journey over the last 6 years, and it's kind of crazy to think that we're here. But it's just been a lot of fun.
And if you want to see Joe, just come out to San Diego. When he's not traveling around for Triple Crown Classic races, you can find him right here in the paddock at San Diego. Joe, thanks so much for your time and insight today. Really appreciate it, and good luck with Seize the Gray and the Belmont Stakes.
Thank you. Pleasure to be on here.
Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place where the track is fast, the turf is firm, and the rail on the turf is out 30 feet. Here are the changes. In the first, start of the early pick 5, number 6, Crazy Cavalier, should be listed as a gelding. In the second, scratch number 4, Violet Storm. No changes in the third. In the fourth, start of the $1 pick 6, no scratches or jockey changes. The all-turf pick 3 starts with the 5th, as does the 50-cent late pick 5, and there are no changes. In the 6th race, no changes. Race 7, scratch number 8, Leopardess. Race 7, take out the 8. 8th race, we have a blinker note, no other changes. And in the 9th, scratch number 9, Adebayo. Number 7, Legitify, will carry 1 pound over. Free admission Fridays. Lots of great activities this weekend. Keep in mind, we do have a special Monday card, which is Gold Cup Day and Dollar Day. This time throughout the weekend, 1 p.m. Beer Fest Barbecue, Carnival, and Corgi Nationals on Sunday. Great action tomorrow. Gold Rush weekend with our Folds of Honor donation packages. And we look forward to having you throughout this 4-day weekend. At the gate for the opener at the Great Race Place in 27 minutes at 1 p.m. Thanks for coming out.
Resumes at Santa Anita on Friday. We have 2 prime plays for you. Beginning in the 5th race, this is a mile grass event, claiming event, $35,000 non-winners at 3 for older fillies and mares. Going a mile, and number 6, Smart Kitten, looks to me like she is well placed and perfectly placed by new trainer Steve Knapp, who claimed her last time off the long layoff. She ran a bang-up second. Take a look at this race, and I think Steve Knapp made a very timely claim. Now, Smart Kitten's on the outside. She is 3 lengths back in the final stages of the race. She is going to be gobbling up the ground here. Unfortunately, she's going to run out of room, eventually finishing ahead behind Inner Beauty, but running a winning race in defeat. Now, with that race under her belt, second off the bench, stretching out to her best trip, I think Smart Kitten is ready for a smasher. A prime play in the 5th race, number 6, Smart Kitten. Moving ahead now to the 8th race. This is an allowance event, an allowance optional claimer for older horses. Number 1, Principe Carlo looks well spotted. He's been facing stakes and tough allowance horses in all of his recent races, and he's just not quite that good anymore. In fact, he's only won 1 race in the last 2 years. But this drop into the allowance optional claiming of level for $50,000 could make a winning difference for this veteran horse. He's got inside speed. He's going to be close up. And against this level of competition with the class drop, I think he can win. He's 6-1 in the morning line. Number 1, Principe Carlo, our prime play in the 8th race on Friday at Santa Anita.
And they're off.